Hi, my name is Susan Schaefer, and today we are really excited to be with Claudia Lohmann. And Claudia is our guest featured artist for issue number 71 in the fall issue 2024. Hi, Claudia.
Hi, nice to see you.
Nice to see you. And all your colorful paintings in the background, they look lovely.
Thank you.
Claudia, in your bio, you mentioned that your father was an accomplished artist. I'm wondering, what was your childhood like growing up in such a creative environment?
Probably very different than you think. Uh, our house was filled with his art, and I was always, even as a little child, very proud of my father. But he never shared his talent with us. So it was his thing. He came home from work, he went down in his studio and he painted. Our house was full. People came, bought stuff, house was empty again. And he only had one little gallery in Regensburg where he sold, but mostly it was private, people who knew him, he worked with, and so on. I'm the youngest of four, and I got told all my youth I have no talent, so let it be. And my older siblings did whatever it was necessary for me. I hated art at school. I had a teacher. I was grade five. No, it was earlier. It was grade three, probably. I had to draw a horse, and I painted a blue horse. And the teacher made fun of me in front of the class that I'm old enough to know there are no blue horses. So art was not something I enjoyed when I was young. My sister, she is an accomplished potter in Germany, so she was showing a lot of talent from very early on. And my brother had his own photo studio all his life. So I developed my artistic streak when I actually immigrated to Canada.
And what do you think prompted that?
Meeting artists, because my father was really accomplished and well thought of, but he never had shows. I never met any other artists in our house. So it was all, yeah, a little bit weird when I see how I deal with my artist friends. And so when I moved here, I got to know artists, and especially one who lived with us for a while. And I did little tiny tables, painted on tables at this time, and he said, "You can do way better." And he introduced me to acrylic, and motivated me so much that I started. It was about 2004, and I never stopped from then on.
Well, that's fantastic. Do we know the name of
Yeah,
the
Richard Chextis. He is a very talented artist, but he is a surrealist. He lives in Victoria, and he really gave up because he couldn't sell, and he is not painting anymore, which is really sad. I have a lot of his pieces in my house, and I treasure them.
Nice.
And it's not the market for surrealism. Even abstract is harder to sell. The market here is more landscape, seascapes, animals, and flowers. And but I was so, I just love his art. It for my brain, it's really like soul food.
Claudia, we recently attended your second annual event called Vivid here on Vancouver Island in BC, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. This is where you had a select amount of artists set up in your back garden. How did this event come about, and do you think you're going to continue on with it?
Yeah, first, for sure, we will continue on. We want to do it as a once a year event. And we are a main group of, let's say, about 5 artists. And then we invite guest artists to the show, or some of the guest artists become regulars. And we don't want to be too big. It's always a problem with parking and neighbors and so on. But we met for I wanted to do a show in the Ladysmith Waterfront Gallery when it was still existing, and it was 2019. And I was looking for different artists to join me. And so I met Catherine Moore and Diane Brinton. Those people are now the regulars in our Vivid show. We called it Vivid. We stuck to the name. It was a really nice show. Then we had a break through COVID, and we started again. I think it was 22 when we had to show it at a not very pleasant school where the Ladies Smith Art Gallery was at this time. We did that, and then we had a show at the gallery. It's a new gallery in Ladysmith this year, actually in 24. 23 was the first time we did it in the garden. 24 is the second time, and we are looking forward to next year. So yeah, we will continue. And the whole thing is, it's not just an art show for me, it's reconnecting with friends. We keep it as reasonable as possible because we figure money is a bit tighter than it was a couple of years ago. So we only share our costs, like insurance and advertising, and then we enjoy our own companies and have a party one night, and it's really lovely.
Sounds perfect. What I really liked about it was the size was small, and I was able to go around and talk to each artist at the event rather than having to run from booth to booth. And I really appreciated that. So
yeah, and we are limited. I think a maximum will probably be 15 different artists. And then my most biggest problem is parking, and I don't want to do it like, say, really big art shows, like Filbert Festival or the other one. We cannot do that, and I don't want to do it. I think I would get in trouble with my neighbors as well.
You recently wrote a recipe book called A Piece of Cake, which I have a copy of it. And I must say, I enjoy flipping through the pages. I haven't made anything from it. But I will someday.
Now, okay, it's not so recently anymore. I started the whole project after we immigrated to Canada. We lived on Salt Spring at the time. And I discovered that you use a cup system here compared to Germany, where you measure everything in grams on a scale. And I figured, that's so much nicer and quicker and easier. So I transformed and adjusted my recipe so they fit in a cup system. I wrote it down in the beginning for myself and then for my children, but after all the effort, it was finally a book. It wasn't intended in the beginning, but my husband was happy. He got a new camera at this time to take the photos. And we had a lot of fun doing it.
And then your husband's probably your best supporter in your taste tester, right?
He is my best
quality control.
Yeah, even in my other adventures art-wise, he is my guy who is driving the paintings to the shows, picking them up for me, loves to come with me to openings. So yeah, without him, I think it would be different, definitely.
Yeah, it's very difficult. Do you have a favorite recipe in your book?
Yeah, but that's not even, doesn't even look like that. It's called Frankfurter Bress. It's a childhood memory recipe. It's with a buttercream, which is made a little bit different than you do your buttercream here. And you can prepare it, if you have a party, you can prepare it at least 4 days in advance. Let it really sink in everything, and it's really good. I really love it. Yeah.
I bet you're quite popular at dinner parties.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know.
Bringing the dessert.
I had my experience, especially on Salt Spring. I was new. My language skills were not really there. My husband joined the Auxiliary Coast Guard. And so there were some parties, and it was potluck, which is not a common thing in Germany. So I brought my cakes, of course, and then they loved it. The men loved it. And after a while, when I asked, what can I bring? Nothing. The woman really didn't want me to bring a cake. It was very interesting. So one person actually said to me, bring chips and a dip, and then you get re-invited. Wow. I think this is really harsh. I can't do that.
Seriously. Can people buy this off your website if they wanted the recipe book?
Yes, they can.
They're available there. Okay. Yeah. Earlier on, you mentioned you had children. Are any of your children involved in the arts?
Daly is in the moment still the executive director at the Ladysmith Arts Council.
Oh.
And my one son is, as his hobby is really taking videos and photos. Otherwise, he works with my husband, and my husband makes boat covers, so a completely different profession. And my other son paints a lot too, but not paintings. It's more those little figurines, Warhammer, and all those things. Yeah.
I'm wondering, do you have any future creative plans that you'd like to share with our audience?
I applied at Macmillan in Parksville for a show in 2026, and I hope I get a spot there. And I got invited from the Mid-Chosen Arts Council. It's called a little bit different, to show my art there next year. So, and then of course I always paint for Vancouver, for the shows in Vancouver and the fine art show from the Aerosmith chapter and for the Nanaimo chapter. My end goal, of course, would be to be in a gallery, but this is really hard here on the island. It's nearly impossible. So, but you know what? I paint what I like to paint. I don't have to restrain myself, and what happens, happens.
That's very true. Well, it's been a pleasure to talk to you and meet you at the Vivid show and reconnect again. And anything else you'd like to say?
No, I'm happy for everybody who comes out to us when we have the show. And I'm always open if somebody comes by my studio and I'm home. I'm more than happy to show them. And yeah, and I'm volunteering a lot at the Ladysmith Gallery, so I'm always involved. I'm actually touring a show for the Federation of Canadian Artists very soon as part of one of the 3 tours. And so there's always something exciting going on.
Very good. Okay, well, thank you for your time. And people can read and see more about you in the fall issue coming out September 1st.
Thank you so much for choosing me and for being there for the artists on the whole island. You are very much appreciated and your work.
Thank you. It is absolutely my pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.